Hello and welcome back. We're picking up where we left off last time in Song 6. Let the city move a little bit while we're discussing this. So at the moment we feel like, or at least I feel like we're a little bit stuck as far as getting the city to grow. Part of that might be that the fruit really isn't the fruit farming that I set up isn't really ready to go. In the meantime, I think during this stream we're going to try to sort of collect titles here. So we've got the entertainer here, which is get those three up to 70%. That should be reasonable to do. Heavies to hands, just get enough execution. So we play enough time, that should complete. And the deranged might be reasonable to do as well. The mad. Sorry. The mad, which comes from having 200 deranged. So we'll see if we can get that one done as well. Although I'm not necessarily going to try for that one. But yeah, we're going to basically focusing on letting time pass, get the entertainer done. A couple of them, like the clumsy, right? We might stumble into if we just play enough. So we're not necessarily in a rush to get out of the city. Although initially there's maybe an argument here that I don't really see much we can do to make the city expand much more. From a tech standpoint, I think we're going to give up on hunting. So let's find the hunting here, and we'll turn the resources off, or the techs off for that. There's only one tier. Left shift to disable it. Yeah. Completely tech back out of that. Take that innovation back, and we'll probably spend it someplace else. And then yeah, I think we're going to take the laborers out of this industry. That'll help deal with our overemployment issue a little bit. Leave the last 10 there for a moment. See, in theory, the fact that they've now been fired should improve actually the effectiveness of the last 10 here. We might leave the last 10. We might take the last 10. I'm not super sure. In the meantime, we do have that one service application. Let's see what I need to max, well, achieve that, which is get 70% in 4 different things. So let's check the speakers first. So I don't have enough speaker down here. And speaker 1 is overburdened. Okay. Let's grab one of you, put you up there, and one of you to put down here. And we'll see if that's enough. At the same time, we do kind of want to see if we can continue to get expectations up. Because if we can get the city growing, we will continue to try to cure the city. Well, I suppose one of the problems with the speakers, right, is it might want... Does it want tier 3 speakers? It might want tier 3 speakers. Yeah, that might be what it wants. For the entertainer. That's why we're looking like we're so close, but not quite there. We might literally actually camp at about like 67. Okay. Without getting upgrades. Yeah, we do have an upgrade that we can run there. We pick up high entertainment. Is upgraded there. We can probably run it if we pick up architecture 5.5 or 5.5. Both of which aren't impossible to do. 100 knowledge, 180 knowledge. So it's like another 90 people on innovation. First existing labs are full, so if we're gonna do that, I have to turn something else off. it might be worth abandoning the pleasure parlors. Those aren't super rewarding at the moment. I thought I were going to build them up, one of the two. Could also back off on the maintenance, food nutrition. Recoup some knowledge there. You know, we'll let some time run for a moment. In theory, our fruit farms are about to have their first harvest. So we'll see how much that helps with the food. Or, well, the approval, because that'll help with beer production. Yeah, we'll see if that takes us up to where we're expecting. I suppose we also have fighting pits, although we haven't upgraded the fighting pits. The fighting pits do have an upgrade. Okay. And that's going to be more innovation, isn't that? Ooh, okay. So I'm like, oh, we're really close to that. It's like, yeah, really close to that. It's the next upgrade. On all three of those buildings. Yeah, one of which doesn't actually help the town. Yeah, we're definitely not necessarily the right species for doing fruit. Although I think the fruit orchards are still better than the fruit farms for throughput standpoints. Interesting. Do I not have adequate graveyards down there? Well, that's not going to be a good way to check. Need to find one of my existing graveyards and see if the wave gets down there. It does. So there shouldn't be a problem with getting people hauled off in those areas. 4 is a little saturated, but we've got another one right behind 4. 18's not that bad. In theory, we are making food. Looks like we're getting some fruit in. That the first harvest of the orchard are happening. Not yet. That's actually predicted to be in 2 days. So that must be forage happening. Fruit forage, which is seasonal. Looks like it's probably done as well. Yep, we're at least going to run through one season here. I'm thinking of running the rest of this stream out, which was going to be like 4 hours. Just watching the city, seeing if we can get the city to grow. People still read this. Okay, so someone's getting hammered militarily. Talking about up on the map here, one thing we will do is let's come to Novaster. We want to maintain colleague level, which requires us to have 2.5 opinion. Right now we got 5 with Novoster, due to us having diplomats sent to Novoster personally, flattery-wise. In theory, I don't need to give them that much, so we can pull off... Actually, right now, because we have colleague status, I could just pull all the diplomats off. Alright, so that'll mean it's expected to fall as the flattery wears off. But we only need to maintain 2.5, and that'll bring us down to 3.5, so that's more than enough. And then let's send a couple to these guys. We'll send 2 to you. Or are you just really resistant to flattery? No, in theory, you've got an effect from that. We've got a Twitch chatter touting, yo, Songs 6. And then Yura? Well, I hope you enjoy the stream. Not necessarily going to be the most engaging content, because I think we've got the city about as stable as it's going to be, as big as it's going to be. But we're seeing we can get it a little bit bigger. Meantime, we're trying to do some diplomacy with the neighbors. See how well that goes. Try to get a few more colleague statuses so we can get some more, expand the trade network, sort of thing. And we'll see if that works. You're from the East Coast. Well, then you might actually know more than I do at this game if you've got 1,000 or 1,100 hours in the game. Yeah, we should be getting the first fruit harvest in. If that fruit harvest is good, we should be able to make some booze. Guys back on. We'll try to put the guys back on booze. Hopefully get some opinion boost that way. Honestly, probably only on city implementation for the first 98 hours. Didn't use regions, envoys, diplomacy at all. Only developed trade relations. Yeah. Well, we had to do some envoy stuff to actually get more than one trade partner. So, and we rule over a very small sort of desert empire here. So we're here, got colleague status with our neighbors, and then we've gone out and conquered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 other regions, most of which are too dry to do much of anything with, but we've got a small empire. Small empire in the desert down here. Zero days, so we're almost at harvest. We'll see if we actually get a decent amount of fruit in. What's my best? This is my best. The Amevians in the desert. Well, they like the hot climate, right? Their preferred climate is hot. We're sort of in a tropical, forested river region. The Amevians and environment, climate. So the Amevians like the hot climate, right? So we're in hot climate, and we've got a lot of water on this map. So we're fishing all of this. We started moving on to the second body of water to start fishing that. Is it fresh or salt now, or is this there is a differentiation between fresh and salt. I think technically we're on a river and a lake, so I think both of my bodies of water are fresh water. You can get salt water, but we didn't settle near salt water. So if you actually look at the surrounding region, we're on a river leading into this freshwater lake down here on the world map. So we're probably in sort of a more tropically area. Most of our empire is desert. We've gone and conquered a bunch of desert. So our empire is scarcely populated, but the capital city is pretty big. Twitch chat saying, I do wish the game had more terraforming options. Yeah, the game is pretty good in the way, at least in my experience, it's pretty good in the way of terraforming options. But there's not any way to necessarily fix the world map. The local region map is usually pretty easy to mess with. Like we've built little sort of bridges in here out to the islands. Guessing that's probably complaints about not enough clothes being delivered. Yeah, it's a shortage of clothes being delivered. There's not much I can do about that. We're net importers of clothes, and I don't have the workforce to fix that. In theory, we just had our first fruit harvest. Oh, you mean by having technology to change soil quality and/or drill/dig for water somehow? Yeah, well, the game sort of, well, it is a little bit fantasy, right, as sort of medieval tech, right? So they didn't really have that sort of technology in the medieval times. We do have different types of soil. You got the standard medieval irrigation running canals and such. You can do some landfill. I think you can do landfilling on the water and/or remove the land to reveal more water. Unless you're about the latter one there. Yeah, we got remove water. I think you can clear and add more, or cut the land away. Or at least you were in earlier patches. Well, they've got wells in the game, and they do have aqueducts. That's effectively what the canals are. They'd be duplicative to the canals in function. But yeah, I could see if you think you'd rather have it above grade canal over, which is effectively what an aqueduct is, rather than an in-grade canal. I can see that. So that's basically what the canal would be doing in-game, right? So in theory, we had a fruit harvest. Wasn't apparently not that big. The first one wasn't. Prediction was like 1910. So what I will do is I'll go turn some of the brewery jobs on. Good luck if that actually hires up to start converting that into booze. Twitch chat's asking, have I played Dwarf Fortress? Notably absent from your YouTube, and I can see you enjoying it based on other games you've played. I have played Dwarf Fortress. I haven't played it on stream yet, which is why it's not on the YouTube, obviously. I haven't thought of a good way to actually stream that yet. Is probably the main reason it hasn't ended up on stream yet. But yeah, I've played Dwarf Fortress. The first time I started recording stuff for the YouTube channel, which was back in university, that was before they had the Steam version of Dwarf Fortress. Oh well, thanks for subbing to the YouTube channel, and hope your hand injury gets better. Yeah, the plan tonight is to run the whole stream as Songs of Six, and then I think the next stream the next stream when we normally play Songs of Six, I think it'll be time probably to move to a new city. So we're probably gonna start up a new city. in Songs of Six. But yeah, the plan is to continue playing Songs of Six every 4 days or so. Right now we're trying to, before we finish the city off, I'm trying to finish up a couple titles. If we just wait long enough, we'll pick up the Clumsy, which is 300 accidents. We actually kind of worked out I need a bunch of, knowledge to pick up Entertainer. Because we've actually got enough speakers, stages, and fight pits. Just have to upgrade them to the last tier. Then, not the incompetent. Heaviest to hands is a number of executions, so we just have to wait for those executions to happen. You're building a research machine with a monster GPU. Nice. I could definitely see that maybe running running much bigger cities very well. Although I suspect something that's probably CPU limited rather than RAM or GPU. Especially when you're streaming it. In streaming it, it's definitely going to be CPU limited because I'm both having to do all the pathfinding, right, for the people and compressing the video. You got the 4X mod right before I hurt my hand. Oof. Getting new things to play with and then losing access to the things right as you want to play around with them is always annoying. Okay, so it's good to see the fruit isn't going down, even though we've turned the brewer on. In theory, that means the booze is actually being distributed to the people. Now we can see a little bit's been distributed. I could probably turn the furniture buying down. We're not doing a lot of things that require furniture upgrading anymore, and or otherwise we're struggling to import everything we need to import is another good way to think about it. Just double check the stage. Stage will require a little bit of furniture, okay. Renowned priest of Amevias arrived in our city. By our reports, the priest arrived with an entourage and headed straight to your throne room. Your subjects steered clear of the figure clad in colors. Rust red with the bleached humanoid bones sewed on after customary greeting. Ask for the rights to preach in your city. The priests do not try hard to convince you. No threats are alluded to or bribes being discussed. Perhaps they truly have nothing but mysterious reputation of the priesthood. Judging by their mere respect, this surface every once in a while during the discussion. You know very well how their offer looks. Accepting them would have them slowly convert the population to Aminism, but the consequences of refusing are less clear. We can probably just allow the preaching here. Yeah, so for the duration of this event, that religion's going to be twice as big, and people are going to be less happy that we allowed the preaching. Do you do organic planning or grid planning? This is mostly organic. A lot of the expansion initially was sort of following the coastline as we put out all the fisheries and deciding to put bridges across. Building up around resources, so we did the stone mine over here and the clay mine down here. So I sort of built colonies around those. And then I built, this is the other stone mine down here, built a colony around that. And then just sort of filling in the spaces between them. And then there's some degree of like trying to keep it somewhat grid-like, and then just dealing with the fact that certain buildings are different sizes, because I build different size buildings. Build the buildings based on what I fit in them, and then build the grid around it. Yeah, I think that's probably clothing again. A solution that is probably turn down the import. That's my export. Turn down my imports for furniture. Okay. That way they prioritize the clothing a little bit more. Probably can do the same with stone. Don't think we're making enough locally. Yeah, we're not making enough locally, but turn that import level lower at least. I did it globally. Okay. Surprised the metal smelters aren't. The little metal smelter I have is not working as well as expected. So you're working correctly. You really want to try out a 121 by 121 grid? And then you really like this this song. Okay. Okay, so there's my charcoaler. Oh, there's one of my charcoalers. There's my metalsmith. I'm not sure why you're underperforming so badly. Yeah, overhead. I'm gonna have to fix the overhead at some point. Wow. If we can get the city to grow enough that I have employees to do administration expansion, we should fix the overhead. Yeah, don't know what's going on with my math for leather, but it's not correct. Okay. So let's free up the last 10 workers from the hunters, because obviously they're not doing anything. The Forgotten Dance just has such a good opening. That's good to know. Probably free up a few from the clay mine. Hopefully this doesn't bite me in the butt too much. We're just trying to deal with the large level of overemployment here. I have too many jobs and not enough people do the jobs, apparently. Twitch chat's in agreement that they happen to like the soundtrack in this game. Yeah, the only problem I have with the soundtrack in this game is, and this is sort of a more of a streaming problem with it, is it doesn't necessarily play when you leave the game pause. So usually I try to take a break every hour or so to get up and stretch the legs. And sometimes the music stops, so people who are waiting for me to take the break, get back from the break, don't have anything to listen to. But otherwise, yeah, the soundtrack's pretty good. Let's check it. Am I exporting metal? I'm definitely importing it. Maybe again, don't need to import quite so much. So let's turn that down a bit. And then check my exporters to make sure I'm not exporting any. I do have that set to export. Which made sense when we were earlier in the town, yeah. Let's turn this off for the moment. Obviously fire the worker because it doesn't need to be working in a place that doesn't have a export to handle. And yeah, I do have cut stone set up to export if we overproduce it, which is good because then we're just turning it back into generate money and use the money to buy stone sort of thing. Yeah, I'm mining basically all the stone on the map, and yet we still don't have enough stone. Good map for fish, trees, and clay. Not a good map for stone. And our guys, to be fair, aren't particularly good at mining stone either. I think we should, let me find the vegetable importer and stop importing vegetables. It's gonna make food worse, but... I'll do the same for cloth, or for fabric, or for the fiber for making the fabric. Oh, and the other thing is that on the Forex mod, I feel way less guilty doing cities with oceanfront. Yeah, I can see if you're good enough at the game that you can fill up the entire map, having all this ocean might be a little bit of a problem, right? Because then you've got all this unused or unusable space. I think technically you could come in and use roads to convert the ocean area into land, but then you've got sort of like these thin, scrawny bits of water, right? Which isn't maybe desirable. Okay, that's about to turn off. And yeah, that is a tanked religious preference, because we only have shrines to craterism, so everyone's grumpy. Although once that wears off, they will start converting back. Supplies are low. Again, that's probably complaints about clothing. If I didn't have a worker shortage, I'd probably be trying to get more clothing makers. I'm not too concerned about the complaints about not people deserting, because we do have the armies we have are well, the army I have, I think, deployed is regional recruits, so we'll just recruit replacements up from the regions. It's probably been long enough to get us innovation back from that thing we did earlier, yeah. Not worth doing orchard improvement, not worth doing the farm improvement. Almost there for fish. Not there for the basic tending. We just read them the early innovation from hunting, right? That's not a good trade. That's not a good trade. That's not a good trade. Oh, I could probably move away from makeshift weapons to proper weapons. That might be worth doing. Obviously, after we downsize the woodcutting industry, that's not a good trade. Okay, after evaluating the options, I think we've got 21 innovation we don't need. And one way to take advantage of that is we can try to take the workers out of the lab. So if we take 10 workers out, that should save us, well, should reduce the investment of about 20. And that's about 10 more from the clay mine we can reduce. Not any real negative side effects. Reducing our overemployment by a little bit, although the city promptly finds new jobs for them. How close are we to getting the next generation? We got a bunch of infants. And a couple people that'll come of age soon. So the answer is we're probably getting it right now. Okay. Okay, so that goes away. And with that, we should start seeing them start to convert back to craterism, and the religion popping back up again. Religion scores popping back up again. It should help with fulfillment. You can also see it going back to Thurism and Shamorism. So the other ones. See if that helps with migration. Fruit looks like it's doing a bit better. There, you're about to get our next harvest, so that's good to see. Oh, and that makes sense because the forage is like 2 days before the main fruit harvest. Yeah, we'll see how much of a fruit harvest you're getting. We might try to re-enable a bit more of the drink job. Because that'll help with the access to drinks, which even if it cycles on and off, will definitely help with growth. Yeah, it might not have been the best plan to accept the priest proselytizing, but at the same time it didn't know what the negative effect would be for saying no. Estimated harvest is going to be 200 something, which is probably not enough, but it's a start. Okay, I'm going to turn this brewery up more. See if we can get a little bit more drink for the people to drink. Yeah, we can see people running in and out of all the warehouses. So much stuff moving around. I set one of the export depots not to export, right? Which one was that? Oh, it was one of the import depots. Yeah, that makes sense. You know, we definitely don't have enough paper. Let's tell you to not export paper. Instead, I'm going to swap you over to coal. There we go. See if that helps with trying to fix the treasury flow. Well, fruit's seeming like it's stable. Yeah, there we got 291 fruit in that season. Next year we'll have more fruit coming in. A lot more fruit coming in. Although, doubling the amount of fruit is maybe not going to make enough of a difference for the drink. Let's slowly start building another admin building. We don't really have enough workers to work it, but we need the admin. So. How's the retirement going? We arguably have too many people retiring. Okay. I don't think reducing the retirement age actually unretires people, but it should slow the retirement rate down. It might also unretire people. Okay, in that awkward spot where I think it's actually 70%, not 79%. The retirement age. Anyway, we've almost got everyone converted back. The more we get converted back, the better the religion will be. And the greater likelihood we get some migrants. Although fulfillment relative to expectation is still pretty bad. Yeah, hopefully adding more admin. Admin's set to, in theory, help a bunch of stuff. We're currently taking a minus 13% penalty to everything. So, buffing everything may help. It may also not help, but it may help. I think I have a lumber exporter. You being a little aggressive at shipping. Probably not. Same thing with gems. I think we're gem positive because we got a gem mine providing gems. Off map, of course. It's a couple of our places that we expanded into had capacity, good capacity for gems. So in theory, it has immediately made use of the second admin building, which has in theory boosted a whole bunch of stuff. We're now positive 102%. See how well that works. There may even be an argument for going in for another admin building. How many can I fit in here? Bigger road or two small roads? Let's go bigger road. These are set to automate, so in theory it won't actually hire up to full. It'll just hire what it wants to maximize the citywide bonuses. Okay, but innovation and knowledge of it. Oh dear. Just saying, okay, I will say every once in a while your audio sound or audio like detunes a bit, like a tape suddenly slowing and speeding up and going back to normal. I don't know how much of that's the game versus the stream. That's a good question. Yeah, I don't know if that's the stream being an issue or if that's actually the game being an issue. I haven't messed around too much with the audio settings other than just a bit of volume. One of the Twitch channels saying possibly the stream for them, or stream for the person who's having audio issues. it might also be some interaction. I do have the game, or I do have the OBS streaming software set up to throttle the view quality, the visual quality, rather than sacrifice frames for upload. So if I get like slightly desynced on the upload, that might also result in something going on with the audio. Let's pop some road in here. So I'm not planning on using this bit anytime soon. Construction. So yeah, as soon as the conversion back is done, we should get a bunch from religion. And we're up back in the 30s again for fulfillment, which is good to see. Native population is slowly growing. Doctrination is rising as well. Renowned priests of Shimalor arrives in the city. Grammatic priests of Shimalor arrive in the city, clad in the traditional robes of the faith, complete with holes to display where its carapace was scarred in battle. It wastes little time on pleasantries, has come to warn you of a crusading army of Guruthi. According to them, it will likely leave in peace if at least part of the population converts, which the priests could help with coincidentally. The deniability is paper thin, but throwing a high-ranking priest of Shimalor in your stockades would be very unwise. So I can allow it, I can refuse it, or I can imprison them. Imprison them is presumably unwise. Whether or not we're going to get attacked if we refuse or allow preaching is the question here. We're kind of just letting time pass. This is going to basically undo all the conversions, but we can just be patient and it'll undo itself. Again, the city's unhappy that we're allowing preaching. It has provided raid security, at least in the short run, which is nice. They're going to much more likely convert to that religion. And our subjects, in theory, are going to pay more tribute temporarily because we've allowed for preaching of a authoritarian religion. Okay, so if we had sufficient workers, we'd probably have like 120% from supplying administration, but it's leaving it at 8% because of the worker shortage. 108% because of the worker shortage, which is fair. Next fruit harvest in 5 days? I think this is saying 3 because this is the one the trees will be adult, not actual days to harvest. Yeah, I think that's when all the trees will be adult. So we should be getting ideal fruit harvest from our fruit farms next harvest. There goes religion back down again. Yeah, that's believable. Could try to throw out a bunch more statues. We don't have the workers to operate more massage parlors. In fact, because of how badly massage parlors being fulfilled, I'm tempted to abandon that and pull the resources back out to invest in higher quality elsewhere. We're not quite meeting the double set of clothes. Yes, that would in theory save us 75, although that would just take us back to the positives immediately. And the bathhouse is a little bit tempting as well, just because the bathhouses aren't very productive. Again, because they're very worker intensive. What we're getting out of them. So that's one option. Let's turn down the prioritization of the warehouse. I like the warehouse is a little bit less efficient, but then that means... Yeah, as you can basically see, that basically means that the worker shortage is entirely associated with logistics. At this point. Got 28 workers working the bathhouse system, 24 working the massage parlors. So that's not going to be enough to cover the shortfall, although that would get us that knowledge back. That's 100, well, basically 110 knowledge back after we pay the debt. That'd be enough to pick up like high entertainment or architecture for the speakers, and those would immediately kick in because I can just pop around all of them and add those upgrades. Oh, that speaker isn't upgraded. We'll upgrade there. That one's not super important, but might as well have it upgraded anyway. Stage. Yeah, the stage wouldn't be too hard to do. Oh, I suppose the other one is I can just accept that we need more innovation workers, right? So I can just build... Find a place and build another library. This actually wouldn't be too bad. We're not making use of the land down here. Instead of just run wildly across the bit here, we'll put a little bit of road and hopefully they'll try to take the road instead. In addition to the library. Because we changed the prioritization with the warehouses, there isn't actually that many free, right? Yeah, all the unemployment, or all the overemployment is now being sequestered in the warehouse logistics system. Which isn't necessarily the best place to have it, but... That's one reason these construction products aren't super fast. I suppose looking at the time, it is due my stream break. So if you're watching on YouTube, we're going to continue trying to sort of unstuck the city in the next part. So you'll have another part up tomorrow from this city. We're also kind of just trying to write out, picking up Heaviest of Hands and potentially the Clumsy. These two are just run the city long enough, functionally. Even to a certain degree, the Mad is actually get the city big enough because we're treating the deranged. I suppose one thing we could do is if decided that we're giving up trying to grow the city is I can actually turn off the insane asylum, which would cause that number to rise pretty quickly. But yeah, the three of those is probably what we're going to try to pick up before we bring the city to a close. I think at least. I think all three of them are doable. I think it's just enough running it long enough. We may try to do the entertainer as well if I can get enough knowledge. So if you're watching on YouTube, you can expect that to be a part of tomorrow. I think if we steal from the warehouses, we can probably get the library working and maybe get a few improvements that way. If you're watching on Twitch, feel free to hang around. We're going to take a short break here so I can get up, stretch the legs, sip some tea, check up on the family, and then I will be back. So until the next part, I'm going to wish you all the best of luck and a good time. Catch you all in the next part of our stream, and bye for now.